I didn't start my testing with a benchmark Benchy. Instead, I threw the Prusa CORE One straight into the deep end, a 16-hour print of a functional ABS mounting bracket that had warped on every other printer I own. I hit print, walked away, and woke up the next morning to a geometrically perfect part. That's the hook here. There is no AI spaghetti detection dancing on a screen, and it doesn't play a song when it finishes. It just quietly dominates the materials that usually give hobbyists nightmares. After years of flashy, smart printers that sometimes feel like fragile appliances, the CORE One feels like a return to engineering sanity, but it's not without some baffling design choices. Design and build quality. The first thing you notice is the footprint. It's deceptively compact. Prusa calls the frame an exoskeleton, and it feels distinct from the plastic-clad cubes we're used to. It's raw steel, rigid as a tank, and heavy. It fits on my cramped workbench better than my MK4 did because it goes up rather than sprawling out. However, the fit and finish has a split personality. The steel frame screams industrial tool, but the side panels are held in by plastic rivets that feel surprisingly cheap. I understand the easy maintenance argument, you can pop them out with a screwdriver, but on a $1,200 machine, they feel like a shortcut. The door is solid though, and the reversible hinge is a blessing for awkward desk setups. Key features in action. The heated chamber that actually works. This is the killer feature. Unlike printers that just trap heat, the CORE One actively manages it. I set the chamber to 55 degrees Celsius for a batch of ASA parts, and it held that temperature rock steady. The difference in layer adhesion is palpable. My parts didn't just look better, they were structurally stronger. Conversely, for PLA, the rear vents open up to keep things cool. I printed PLA with the door fully closed, usually a recipe for heat creep and clogs, and had zero issues thanks to the active ventilation. CoreXY kinematics and Nextruder. If you're coming from a bed slinger like the MK3 or MK4, the speed bump here is noticeable. It's about 20% faster in practice, but the real win is stability. Tall, thin prints that used to wobble on a moving bed are dead still here. The Nextruder continues to be my favorite extrusion system on the market. The load cell sensor for the first layer is practically magic. I swapped nozzles 3 times during testing, and I never once had to calibrate a Z offset manually. It just taps the bed and goes. Repairability first. This isn't a feature you see on a spec sheet, but it matters. When I wanted to check the belt tension, I didn't have to break plastic tabs or peel off glued rubber. Everything is accessible. It respects your time as a mechanic, not just as a user. Performance and daily reality. In my daily workflow, the CORE One became the reliable one. While my other fast printers were throwing errors or needing glue stick reapplication, the CORE One chewed through spool after spool. PLA to PTG, flawless. The print quality is slightly better than the MK4S, mostly due to the elimination of vertical artifacts, or VFA, thanks to the CoreXY motion system. ABS to ASA to PC, this is where it shines. I printed a large polycarbonate gear that usually delaminates. On the CORE One, it came out solid. The active chamber heating does what passive enclosures simply can't. However, the smart features feel a generation behind. The camera is usable. It takes a frame every few seconds and needs good external light. Compared to the smooth, high frame rate streaming of a Bambu Lab X1C, it feels like a webcam from 2010. It's fine for checking did it fail, but you won't be making time-lapse content with it. Limitations and trade-offs. Let's address the elephant in the room, the price. At $1,299 assembled, you are paying a premium for the Prusa name and support. You can get a Bambu Lab P1S for nearly half the price that prints just as fast. Also, the user experience isn't as polished for beginners. Setting up the Wi-Fi felt clunky compared to the QR code scanning simplicity of competitors. And while I love the open-source nature, I did run into a crash detection error that required me to fiddle with belt tensioning more than I'd like on a pre-assembled unit. It's a machine that rewards a little bit of knowledge, whereas others try to hide the mechanics entirely. final verdict. The Prusa CORE One is a 3D printer for people who want a tool, not a toy. It trades the wow factor of LiDAR and AI for the quiet confidence of industry-leading reliability and repairability. Buy this if you print engineering materials like ABS, ASA, or PC regularly and need dimensionally accurate parts without warping. You value long-term repairability and want a machine you can service easily in 5 years. You are already in the Prusa ecosystem and want a compact CoreXY machine that shares parts with your MK4. Skip this if you strictly print PLA for cosplay or toys. A Bambu Lab P1S or A1 will save you money and do the job just as well. You need multicolor printing right now. The MMU3 support is coming but isn't integrated like an AMS system yet. You want a plug-in and never touch a screw appliance.